20 years of age. Pretty much lost 2 years of my life to the health system. Suffered from insane sort of accident that I didn't wear a seatbelt.
And that's actually what saved his life.
Yeah.
Because if he had have had the seatbelt on and stayed in that position, he would have been dead.
And that ride in the ambulance, what was going through your mind on the way to the hospital?
So it all just felt like traumatizing dreams fading into another one and another one.
Literally never seen, and I've nursed for over 25 years.
Yeah.
Within the hospitals in all different areas. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And they literally had fried his kidneys. He was telling them, I can't breathe. And we were trying to ask for some physio on his chest and everything. And they were like, no, he doesn't need it. He ended up with osteomyelitis in the bone, up in the shoulder. And that was because of, as I said previously, that collarbone was broken. Osteomyelitis is an infection in the bone. But that was caused from them breaking and re-breaking that collarbone. Because they wouldn't listen, they kept rolling him on that shoulder, and he got sepsis. They told me that none of this was due to his injury, this is due to neglect. I can actually tell you what he heard, what he's seen, and then how they tried to cover it up and tell me a whole different story. Just lies after lies.
Covering up.
Absolutely.
But everyone listening, please check out the GoFundMe in the bio, and also Lockie's socials and stuff. I'll pour that in the bio, so please check it out and support.
Welcome to the One Talk Podcast with Ryan McCarthy.
Today's episode is sponsored by TNC Metal Roofing. TNC Metal Roofing is a small family-owned business constantly striving to outdo competition on quality, appearance, and providing the most cost-effective roofing solutions. All aspects of metal roofing, from new roofs, re-roofs, fascia, and gutter-to-wall cladding. With many builders and private clientele, they are slowly growing to be the next big contender in North Brisbane. TNC stated they are loving the work One Talk does throughout the community and beyond, highlighting mental health is a major thing and often swept under the rug within the building industry, and they want to make it a topic. Never any project TNC will shy away from, and the mental health of their employees is always at the forefront. So check the link in this bio. You can find their website, you can find their Instagram. Please go show the love, go show the support. Also, if you need any roofing work done, I highly recommend hitting them up. They are the best in the business on Brisbane, and I highly recommend checking them out.
Thank y'all. The marathon continue. Victory lap tonight, though. Victory lap tonight.
Welcome to the One Talk Podcast with Ryan McCarthy.
The marathon continues. That's what you would say.
Welcome to the One Talk Podcast. Lachlan and Sonia, how are we?
Hello, how are you?
Not bad, yourself?
Thank you.
Oh, doing good, thanks. Thank you for inviting me into your home and do this podcast today. You've got a incredible story with what you've been through, the challenges, especially what we're about to go into. But before we get into it, I really want to come back to the starting point, just to, find out a bit more about Lachlan and yourself on the personal level.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself, mate. Whereabouts are you from and where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Rocky, or Rockhampton, as a lot of people know it.
Mm-hmm.
So not overly big or anything like that. 20 years of age. Pretty much lost 2 years of my life to the health system.
Yeah.
And current situation I'm in, yeah.
Yeah.
Suffered from insane sort of accident that surprisingly shook a lot of people that I'm still alive from. 2 years ago. And yeah, now I'm here.
Yeah. Well, talk to us a bit about before the accident though. What was life like for you in that moment? 16, 17, 18?
Yeah, it was, wild for a bit there,
Yeah.
doing the same thing as, anyone that's young does.
Yeah.
Lockie really liked his cars and his four-wheel driving, so he was right into that just before the accident.
Yeah.
But always looking for different challenges.
Yeah.
He actually got involved with trying to start his own label, which led to the accident, really,
Yeah.
which is what he was doing.
I was working. I was doing 10 days on, 3.5 days off out of the mines, just pushing to do my car. I was a civil operator. I loved operating. It was what I wanted to do if I couldn't actually do my label. So I was really busting my ass to get up all my experience and all that sort of stuff. So I took the opportunity that I had with the company I was working with to go out into the mines, and I knew it was a long stint doing the 10 days and only having 3.5 days on. I was punching about 14, 16-hour days at times.
Yeah, well.
Because all I wanted was my car, and I just wanted to, I wanted to make something big out of my life.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why not mix 4 drives and I guess the partying and that fun sort of stuff as well into one sort of label, which was fulltilt.co. I ended up getting my car and I had it for about 12 days. I don't think I could ever replace the feeling that I had when I got that car.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially at such a young age, like be able to go to the mine, start a clothing label, like not many people around 17, 18 attempt to pursue these things and also go and get a car that you dreamed of as well. Like, where do you think a lot of that determination came from?
I don't know, honestly, where my determination comes from. I just know that when I want to do something, I do it, and I make sure I know the ins and outs of it. I guess you could say that's the ASD.
Yeah, so Lockie's he's diagnosed young with autism, level 3. Also suffered severe separation and anxiety, ADHD, OCD. So he's always been he'll look at something, get very fixated on that, and he doesn't stop until he knows the ins and outs of it or he's conquered it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so what he does well.
Yeah.
Really, throws his whole self into that to achieve it.
Yeah, so I pretty much threw myself into the car. I surprised that I got the car that I got. I mean, I had it sitting there for about a month, just talking to previous owner and all that, until he basically just come out and said that he's going to hold it for me. So
yeah,
I got pretty lucky with that. But yeah, I ended up getting the car and I was still out working at the mines. I just finished a 10-day stint, and that stint was probably one of my longest stints. We ended up getting an extra day off, so I was excited. I was like, oh, like the car had been sitting out there for 10 days out of the 12 that I had it.
Yeah.
So all that was going through my mind was, yes, I'm going back home. I'm going to shoot ads, videos, all this sort of stuff, and get the whole ball rolling.
Yeah.
I had a few of the other boys back at home that were keen on it too, and they knew the drill that I was coming back, and that's what we were doing for that afternoon.
Yeah.
But I guess with all that, with the adrenaline and the excitement, just the thought of being tired wasn't even on the list. I know I got back into Rocky, I think at around 2:30 in the Arvo, and if anyone knows Rocky, before you get into Rocky, there's a massive roundabout, with like welcome to Rocky, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And as I've sort of hit that, I've gone in my mind already. I've like, I don't really want to do it. I don't really want to go down to the beach running, but I already had a plan, so I was like, well, I can't really pull out now, so ended up just running with it. Mum ended up telling me when I got home, just stay home.
Yeah.
And I had to go, so.
Decided to head out and take the 4B out for a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the two mates of mine rock up, and we went around, fueled up, that sort of thing. We started punching to Zilsey, and Zilsey would be about a 45-minute drive or so.
Is Zilsey like a beach type
Yeah.
suburb up in Rocky?
Yeah, so Zilsey just sort of comes off of Emu Park. We were on, what side was it? Can't actually remember the side. I just know there was an abandoned golf course that we'd drive through and then get onto the beach. So the beach was a public beach, but the golf course was private. We weren't aware of that.
Yeah.
There was no
There's
signs.
no signage or anything
No.
there.
Yeah.
And if there was, it was certainly covered up, like
Yeah.
you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like we were the only ones either that would go down there. There was tracks all through it.
It's like common for the people around
Yeah.
there that went and explored.
Yep.
Yeah.
And anyway, we got on the beach. We're doing our thing. We got a few photos and videos, and I was still getting a feel for the car and that. I was pretty confident with it, like being around it and growing up. Like my brother, he's had 4 drives pretty much for all of his cars.
Yeah.
I've always been in the car with him, so and I very confidently say that he knows how to steer a car. But as it does, even like accidents are bound to happen.
Yeah. Things are unpredictable at times, hey?
Yeah. So I ended up shooting up to the top of this mountain up in Zilsey that leads, like a track leads from the beach and up there and that. So we just went up there and had a smoke, and we were just talking about our plans for full tilt and all that. And I pretty much said, right, we'll go for more beach run and we'll cruise home. And that wasn't, well, it was the last beach run for 2 years, but we did end up making it home. I remember hitting the beach and we were cruising along. And I ended up sort of talking to Xander and that, which was a passenger I had in the car. And I've looked down because I had a TD42, so I always checking gauges, that sort of thing, making sure the car's all good, just engine-wise and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Making sure my temps are fine and what my boost is reading that and that. So I've looked down at me gauges and looked at me revs, and as I've looked up, I seen a tree stump, and I think I was going like 60 k's or something. So on the beach, it's somewhat fast, especially with the weight that I had in the vehicle.
Yeah.
But wasn't overly fast either. But as I've looked up, I've seen a tree stump, and I've gone to swerve it, and the back end of the car's kicked out. And I ended up kicking passengers, and then drivers, and then passengers again. And at that point, I was just, because the tree stump was coming up a lot closer, so I was like freaking out a bit.
Yeah.
The car, as I kicked the passenger side, I sort of froze, like just seeing how quick that stump was coming up. I've hit the brakes, and as many people know that drive, it's not the first thing you should really even do on the beach, especially if the car's going sideways.
Yeah.
I've put the brakes on and I've started sliding, and the tyres are just grabbing the sand and it just flipped me. I didn't wear a seatbelt or anything like that, due to being told, like, by my brother and that, if you're doing stupid things or anything like that in cars
Four-wheel drive.
or four-wheel driving, we take our seatbelts off because,
And that's actually what saved his life.
yeah,
Because if he had have had the seatbelt on and stayed in that position, he would have been dead.
Yeah,
because the whole driver's side roof caved in.
I got photos there.
It's like over 6 foot. So
yeah, I'll include photos into this part of the video as well to show a visual, because it is like bent in on that side, isn't it?
Yeah, and so it when it rolled, it don't know how, but it took him out the window. Again, with his size, I don't know how that even happened, that he flung out that window.
In that moment, like, I'm just curious, like, because you hear stories about things like this. Did everything slow down, or did things just like snap and go so quick?
It's hard to explain, eh? It's because mate in the passenger seat, he was like, Duffey, woo woo. And by the time he said that, it was just everything's unraveling. So it's like everything's going so fast that it just turns slow.
Like, you haven't had time to process it.
Yeah, I didn't. Like, by the time he said that, I was already half out the window.
Wow.
And I was not knocked out or anything. So I remember the entire thing. I think with over the past 2 years, with everything else that's gone on, my mind's just sort of covered up a lot, and so I can't exactly go into depth of what feeling and everything like that I was feeling. I can't remember it.
Because the car actually, when he went out the window, the car's come straight down on top of him, and he's landed face into the sand.
So I ended up
car on top of him.
I ended up
lost no consciousness with that, so he remembers the whole.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so I flew out the window. I remember my right shoulder had smacked the A pillar, so just where the seatbelt sort of sits.
Yeah.
It sort of clipped that, and it sort of just rotated me.
Like
slightly.
the top part? The seatbelt, do you mean, or the bottom?
Yeah, the top part. So going out the window, my right shoulder clipped it, and it sort of rotated me a little bit. And I've landed in the sand. I've landed like on the side of my neck, and still nothing registered about having a broken neck or anything like that. So, but I knew the car was on me because I was struggling to breathe. So my head, I was on my stomach. My head was sort of out the side. I tried getting up, and I tried throwing my right arm over, and it was just hard. I don't remember if my left arm or hand was stuck under the car or anything. I tried moving it, and I couldn't.
So was it from like your belly down?
It was from the top of my bottom down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember seeing someone come around the corner. I was trying to yell out. I couldn't. I was just, from the pressure of the car and everything, I was just struggling. He went around, and then Kyron, or another mate, he came back around.
And his face was in the sand too, so it was really hard to breathe.
So you're face down?
Yeah. So my cheek was on the sand, and the rest of me was just being pushed.
And because your neck was broken this time, you couldn't like turn at all?
I was moving my neck, like I said, I didn't even register the thought of my neck being broken. I was just like, righto, get up. Let me have a look at this car. Like,
body's probably in survival mode as well, going through something so traumatic, like the shock and adrenaline you would have been in.
Yep, that's basically it. You pinpointed it there. But anyway, mate ended up coming around, and I was telling him, I was like, you got to get me out. Like, I can't breathe, and we were sort of half in a bit of an argument because I didn't know at the time, but he was on the phone to another one of my mates. He was older, and he was telling him, don't move, like, leave me where I was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't having it, so I told him, no, get me out, I can't breathe. So he ended up getting me out, dragging me out, rolling me on my back.
So they dug in the sand to try to get him out because the car was on top of him, so they've dug a hole to get him out.
Yeah. Did like you advocating to get dug out, did that save you as well?
Yeah, I reckon it did. Otherwise, I probably would have just ended up giving up. Like,
there's only so long you can struggle to breathe for.
Yeah. Because I felt fatigued too. Yeah. Like, trying to lift my arms now, I was just like, why is it so hard? Like, but yeah, he rolled me back on to my back, and I remember worrying about the other mate that I had in the passenger seat, so I was continuously lifting up my head with a broken neck.
Yeah, well.
Not realising it.
Yeah, not realising. Lifting it up to look at the car and to see where he was. in my mind, it was like really slow. Like, but everyone else was in panic mode. But I was just sort of chilling. I was like, what's going on? The ambos ended up coming down and the police ended up coming down.
So they actually attempted to come down with the helicopter, but they couldn't land with the helicopter, so they had to wait for the car to come down through to get onto the beach.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Which was, again, to get him off that beach was a bit hard, like in the vehicle, trying to keep him steady as well.
I can imagine the bumpy
yeah.
roads or the bumpy sand and tracks to get off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't actually a very. I can't remember where they exited the beach, but I know the entry that I'm pretty sure that they got directed to. It's not a somewhat smooth road.
Yeah.
You had to sort of crawl along the edge and that sort of thing. So, yeah. But while I was on the beach still, before they got me into the car, they had given me, I think, around 3 shots of morphine. And when I got into the actual, I don't know exactly what they're called, but the actual ambo cars,
Yeah.
I think I was in the troopy from the beach to the road, and I believe they transferred me to the actual ambulance.
You would have been one of their like 4-wheel drive paramedic cars, and then once you got off the beach, got put in like an actual ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave me the green whistle. And like, even on the beach, I was starting to like close my eyes and that sort of thing. And a 40-minute drive felt like 10 minutes. Back to the ED area. I remember a couple of the boys coming in, a fair few of them. I was quite surprised at how quickly the word travelled.
Yeah.
Mum was there.
Just quickly, like, in that ride in the ambulance, like, what was going through your mind on the way to the hospital? Like, especially
laughing.
experiencing something so traumatic.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, because Xander, he was in the car as well.
Drugs that he was, the morphine and stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
think he had
even
the
necessarily.
whistle, didn't he?
Yeah, I
The
had the
whistle?
whistle, but
Yeah.
I was just still trying to joke around with Xander. Like, it was
Good
just
spirits.
Yeah.
As we do it, blokes.
That was to keep your mind off them.
I don't think it was to keep my mind off anything. I think my mind hadn't comprehended what just went down.
I can imagine. Like, at what point did you find out about all this? Because if Lockie got to the hospital and you're basically there already, like, how did you find out about
No, I wasn't
this?
there already. I actually got a call from the mate when they were on the beach. And everyone else had been called, so I sort of, that was pretty full on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't even imagine getting a phone call about my child like that.
Yeah, it was pretty
very
weird because I
difficult.
sort of had the feel, and I guess
I'll just clarify too. Mum's always had these sort of feels, and that's, I guess, what also she was trying to tell me to stay home.
Stay home,
I was
yeah.
actually up making the bed for him to like come home because I knew he'd done the stint, so I was just putting fresh sheets and that on the bed, and then something. So I was like, I didn't have my phone with me, and I'm like, I need to go downstairs. And I got downstairs and I'd had like so many missed calls from Lockie's phone, and I sort of knew before, but I
will
made
clarify too. I ended up telling people actually not to ring Mum.
Yeah,
because I didn't want her to freak out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that call was I think all I did was scream.
And I ended up getting to the ED, and Mum was there in my mind. I think as soon as I hit the floor, like, I remember Mum being there straight away. Like, from my perspective, I remember wheeling through the doors and Mum was already sitting there. And I seen the boys, and I only remember seeing them. I vaguely remember seeing my brother. But for that 4 to 5 weeks, I don't remember.
The first 4 to 5 weeks at hospital.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
They kept on. He was obviously had quite a lot of heavy drugs on board. He was in ICU, but they couldn't literally put him into a coma either. He kept coming in and out, even with the amount of drugs that they did have him.
Yeah.
They couldn't fully comatise him, so he was actually going in and out of that for the 4 to 5 weeks, which is quite an experience within itself, as he'll say, like it was like being in bad dreams and he couldn't move. And
Yeah, because I believe they had me on ketamine. And I didn't even know that I was like, because I was asleep, I was out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were hitting me with ketamine.
Yeah, it's a really strong drug.
Yeah. So it all just felt like traumatizing dreams, fading into another one and another one. But as Mum and everyone that was up there was saying, I was opening my eyes. I was moving. Or,
Were you engaging? Like, were you talking or?
so
Not
he
that
was
I can
actually
remember.
induced. So he's had in his throat, the tube in his throat to
Okay.
keep him going, like with the drugs and stuff, for the coma to like work. But he kept on trying to talk over that. He kept on opening his eyes, and the eye contact, like he'd know as soon as myself or Hayden was there present, and he'd just he'd try to communicate any which way. Like he learned how to.
Well, even before that,
He learned how to talk by burping.
Yeah.
It's just a really bizarre, like, as I said, if
But
he's
even
going to do something,
before-
he'll do it.
Yeah.
But even before that point, everything that I saw was just a dream, like a dream to me. Like I didn't think that I was actually talking to anyone. I just thought it was my mind playing tricks on me.
Do you remember the first time you came to, like, where you actually, I guess, had a realization where you're at and what's happening?
It's hard to say with that. Like I think about it all the time, like I do, because every time that something new gets brought to my attention, that from Mum's point of view, I go, oh, so I wasn't actually dreaming at that point. But my initial sort of like drugs and that sort of stuff flatlining, and not being as heavy or whatever would be probably the night before I got off the what are they called? The tracheostomy or whatever. The incubator, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, the incubator. So I remember I had a nurse there.
The ventilator.
Yeah, that's it. I had a nurse there, and I somehow knew that once I get off this, I can go into ortho. So I can get away from all the screaming, the ICU, just all that. I can get away from it. And I actually hadn't slept either. Mum had said, like, yeah, I might have had all the drugs on board, but I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
Lockie's never been able to have a lot of, even with his ADHD and stuff, he's never been medicated for his autism or anything. All these drugs would actually have an opposite effect on him.
Yeah.
So what I was seeing in ICU is what was like, it was really messing with his head. So the more that they gave him a dose, the more that he didn't sleep.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I was to give, Lockie as a child, if I was to give him Pain Stop, which has got the codeine and stuff in it, he would literally climb the walls. He wouldn't sleep for 2 days.
Yeah.
So just to imagine that with one dose to being in ICU for the 5 weeks on all of these really high fentanyl, ketamine, morphine. I could actually, like, his mind was just, he couldn't sleep. It was just,
Sleep deprivation has such a big impact on you, let alone mix that with all these painkillers and drugs as well. Mixed with the experience that you went through 5 weeks before.
That, he could.
Yeah, because I actually remember, like, on that hallucination and whatnot, I remember seeing the mate I was talking about before, the older one, that mate that dragged me out from the car was talking on the phone. He ended up coming down here. I still actually hadn't realised that I was down here at this point. And when he was in the ICU room, I thought we were in a fish and chip shop. Like, I was waiting to get into his car and for us to go back to Rocky. from your poon. So the hallucinations were definitely there.
Yeah, well. How long do they continue for?
From that point, they wouldn't have stopped until I got to that point of getting off the ventilator.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Once they took the intubation out and put a tracheostomy in, so he was breathing on his own, but he had the trachea in, so they lowered a lot of the drugs come down with me sort of.
yeah.
Yeah. Once they started coming off, he was a lot better with that he could actually talk and speak with me and everything.
At this point, like, what's the what's the updates from the doctors, the nurses, and all of that at about the 6-week mark? Because at that point, you might have been a bit
Mum
out of
can
it, but
give you all
Mama
that.
had high hopes of what progression might make, what the future may
Oh,
look like. What was the information you were getting?
Yeah, that's all Mum.
Yeah, so when he hit ICU, the accident was on the 7th of September 23. We literally hit the PA, the Princess Alexandra Hospital, early on the 8th of September. They took him straight up into ICU where he went into, they put him on a traction. I just sort of felt like where he was at.
Yep.
Put him into traction, 20-kilo water bag, stayed on his back. The whole way through, even with I had a couple, I'd see things and I'd think, am I just seeing this or because I want to see it, like his hands would move. And I didn't want to say too much in case it was me. And a couple of the nurses, they're like, we saw that. His hand is moving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I thought I sat beside his bedside there and that's all I did was continuously moving.
Because up until that point, did you not have any movement in the hands at all?
When he first went to the Rocky base, when he got there by the ambulance, he could actually move his hands and his arms. He couldn't feel his legs.
Yeah, okay.
And then a doctor come in after they had done some scans and told him that you might be able to move your arms or your legs ever
And
again.
I don't even remember the scans. Like that, by that point, I wasn't even there.
And as soon as that doctor said that, he couldn't move. His hands stopped moving, his arms stopped moving.
Well.
And he was saying, then he's like, I think I could have done it without my legs, but I can't do it without both. Also, when observing him when he got there, the only part bruising that he had was on his collarbone, on the right collarbone. Nothing else was with having that accident, there was no other bruising.
Yeah.
No cuts, no. And the reason I say that, because when they also did that scan, they said there's a potential, there's a break in his right collarbone. So when he come down here, there was a lot of things that they missed when he went into ICU. They kept rolling him on that right collarbone, so there was obviously a break there, and I kept saying, no, that collarbone is broken, because I could see the swelling and the bruising, it wasn't rocking. You could actually see it.
Yeah.
But they kept on rolling him on and off of that too, so he was in quite, even the drugs that they had him on there, just quite a lot of pain.
Well, that's like if you have a sprained ankle or rolled ankle and someone getting you to put pressure on it. It's the last thing you need.
There was a point there while he was in that, during those for the 5 weeks in ICU, the total advocate of what you had to push there, because I'm like, look at the colour of his urine. He was hardly having any urine. I'm saying, how much fluid are you giving him? And they were literally it was 20 mils an hour, for a good 3 weeks. And everything had to be restarted. So, and I had said to them, you're going to shock the kidney. He needs some more fluid. They're like, oh, we don't want to overload him. But I'm like, you're going to, if I can do damage, not giving him anything either. 20 mils an hour isn't a lot.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
dehydrate your
that
kidneys.
turned out that they rung me one night. I was back at the motel and they said that they didn't know if he'd make it or not. And they literally had fried his kidneys. That come from the doctor's mouth.
So how long did you say, sorry, he was on the 20 mils for of fluid?
Over 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a couple of days. It was, yeah.
And then how did they end up finding out that your kidneys were fried? Was it?
I didn't find any of this sort of stuff out until
Really down in ortho and stuff. When you got down there.
Like
even when I hit ortho, I was still finding out stuff that had happened in ICU.
So at this point, were you still kind of a bit out of it in a sense? Or were you?
Yeah, I was still sort of like working out what's going on.
Yeah. So I was going to say, like, could you
He
feel
wasn't
yourself
actually
deteriorating?
comatized. He was like hallucinating, going in and out because, like I said, the drugs that he was on, he actually couldn't tolerate any of them.
Yeah.
So they'd have an opposite effect. So he's doing more. He wasn't comatized. He was just going in and out of like dreams because he wasn't sleepy neither. It was a hallucination. So his body was. But what he would do is he knew that he was thirsty because every time he'd be like, because he was still intubated, so he was trying to get me to, and they would only allow him like the sponge that I could put in the mouth just to like, because of the dry mouth.
Yeah.
But I could see myself that he needed more
Yeah.
fluid. I could also see that, observe that he could swallow a lot better than what they were sort of making out, like they were literally.
Because even when I hit ED, I was like, I need water. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I was restricted water from the time I hit ED. And I was just thirsty, man.
There
I was even
nurses
dreaming.
there that would come in and they could assess and see where he was at, and they were bringing him like icy poles, overnight, like the older nurses and stuff, just to put around his lips to give him that, because you could imagine having something down your throat, being that dry, and not getting even IV wise of any type of fluid, like enough fluid. Yeah, it was frying.
And all they give you is these little epoxy sponges.
Yeah.
And when you suck on them, all you're getting is bubbles. It's like
traumatizing your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So we ended
especially
up
to the
getting
point
a
where your kidneys get
syringe.
fried.
Yeah, that's right. I end up then those nurses that were actually seeing it a little bit more and was trying to help him had the syringe there, so you could fill it up with like water and pop it in the side of his mouth to give him, but it was sort of still that going on.
And then even with that in ICU, the halo.
Yeah, so even while we were in there, because they were fighting amongst themselves, like your orthopedic team to your ICU doctors, should they risk it and take him to theatre, because like he was doing a lot of gym and so he was quite thick in the neck.
Yep.
Yeah, before all that, I was doing like strongman and boxing, powerlifting. So yeah, I had a good set of traps on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like contemplating it. It took them, again, like 4 weeks to decide whether they were going to take him to theatre to put plates and screws like in for his neck, or whether they were going to put a halo on him. In the end, like I was again, you need to make a decision because he needs to get off of this. Like, so in the end, they went with the halo. And they were taking him down to theatre to actually change the intubation to the trachea.
Yep.
And I said, well, while he's down there, can you put the halo? Why not do that?
Just for context, the halo is a thing that gets put around your neck, eh?
Yeah,
so the halo
metal
is like
plate.
your 4 screws in your forehead and at the back of your head.
Yeah.
And it holds everything still.
Still, yeah.
And it all attaches to like a vest.
Yeah. So they decided to put you there after 4 weeks of contemplating it.
Because for the 4 weeks, he was just on traction.
Yeah.
Which everything aligned back. So the disc didn't actually break. They dislodged C5, C6, C7.
Well,
I did have a 3-column fracture in my C7.
Yeah. It wasn't a like shattered and broken, if you know what I mean. But so for them to put, when they actually did the scan for that halo to go on, like everything was aligned and back to where it was supposed to be. They took him down to theatre, did the trachea, and then put the halo on as well. He come back up. He was back up in ICU for about 10 minutes. I was talking to the senior orthopod doctor. He was telling me that everything had gone well. It was all in place, so Lockie's not got any pins or screws or plates in his body. It was just kept aligned with the halo. I was right beside the bedside with the doctor, and I heard Lockie started to cough. And we've just turned, and as we've turned and looked at Lockie, the whole halo had slipped from where they had put the screws in down the front of his face. So I looked at the doctor and I went, and there was like blood, and he's like, that's not meant to happen. And they literally had to put that and another lot of screws in his head in ICU when he come back, so he was aware.
And even for context, those screws that go into your forehead, they go about 3 to 4 mil into your skull.
Well,
yeah.
How long?
And it
was
literally
that position
dragged
like that for?
Down his forehead.
How long was the position as it dragged down for? Like, because you would have noticed and then alerted the staff, but you know how long it was actually displaced for?
Well, like I said, we were at the bed. He was back from theatre like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he coughed. But just for someone to cough and for those screws to dislodge, like they obviously weren't put in properly. But yeah, they had to then gather other people, so they had people just standing there holding the halo.
Didn't you say that the doctor pretty much just said, we have to do this now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked at us, he's like, no, we can't, this needs to happen now. So they'll literally hold, because that halo's pretty weighty. It's full steel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they pretty much did it there and then.
Yeah. And at this point, what was the, I guess, what was happening with your kidneys at this stage? Have they found a way to, I guess, improve them or restore them? Or?
So, again, like it's probably a little bit off, like we are very, our culture and our holistic healing. We've always been about like Aboriginal healing.
Yeah.
With you asking that question, like while Lockie was in ICU, we did a lot of HK did a lot of surrogacy sessions and working with spirit.
I believe I gave you the
template.
The kidney, and he was had high temperatures and the kidney failure. They were about to put him on dialysis.
Yeah.
And we started a surrogacy session. This happened when I wasn't at the hospital, but I was very well aware it was happening because I went to go and visit Lockie and something told me to go and sit out on the balcony and I could see ancestors and I was swallowing water like no tomorrow. Like I was just being led to drink all this water. Anyway, once that was done, I was told then spirit to leave and go up to the hospital. And when I walked up and got into ICU, Lockie was actually he was looking at me, like his eyes were, and they were real blue colour. Now, for the past week, his temperatures were 40 and above. They could not get his temperatures down.
Well,
the urine was thick, really orange, they were looking at dialysis because of what they'd already done to the kidney. I looked at his OBS, the monitor, and he was 36.5. And his urine, I'm like, this is so much clear. That's just how it weighs.
Yeah.
But to answer that question before, when they put the halo on, his fluid was actually looking a lot better. And this is when they actually then started, I'm like, well, you're not going to take it back to that again.
Yeah.
Let's get the syringes. Let's, put the water. So each time they told me to give so much, we'd give a little bit more. And those nurses, so his kidney was, it was slowly starting to
improve.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, end up in hospital to then, get to a point where your kidneys get fried and also this halo that comes on is not screwed in properly and you've got to try and put it back in place. Like, it kind of seems like this is probably somewhat of only the start of the journey of what happened with the hospitals and all the neglect that you went through.
Absolutely.
Following the halo, and once you got that back in place, like, what
I've
was
literally never seen, and I've nursed for over 25 years
yeah,
within the hospitals in all different areas. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
yeah. Because what happened next? Like, after the halo, what was their plans for treatment going forward?
We hit ortho, wasn't it?
Once the halo and that was fixed, he was moved to another room into ICU, where they were just getting him to try to breathe on his own. He still had like the ventilator on to help him breathe because obviously laying flat on something you need the physio. You basically got to restart the whole body.
Yeah.
And from laying flat too for so long, I ended up developing
He did get out of ICU there with a couple of other things that got done, given drugs that he wasn't aware he was getting, and becoming very irate and aggressive. Like I said, he doesn't handle a lot of the drugs. So they actually, at one point there, they upped his Lyrica from 75 milligrams to 350 milligrams without saying anything to him or to myself.
Yeah.
I could just pick it up from his behaviours and what he was doing in his eyes. And I asked what changed. They said the medication hadn't changed. And I said, okay, well, tell me now how much of that medication is he's having. And that's where I got that. And I said, you need to drop that and you need to wean him off of that.
No, that lyric is not good. Like,
lyric is not a nice one.
Even people that I knew from the past that were just taking it off the streets, like you could just see what they were like.
But even in there, like the
so
ventilating,
I never wanted anything to do with it.
Yeah.
The ventilating, that was one of probably the next hardest things to get him off because everyone had a different opinion on how much percent of the oxygen to keep him on to get them, and some of them had turned it right down where he was like struggling. He was so fatigued, like for this, the spinal injury to breathe, like you feel like you're not breathing at all. So there's continuous arguments there, and that at any such time you want it back on, then we will. But the push was the bed, like they needed the bed. So instead of keeping him comfortable, it was like we want to get him off of this so we can get him out the ward and get him downstairs.
Yeah. I can say, like, part of me wanted that too, like ICU.
But it's just they could have done it so much easier. Yeah. And again, it wasn't until, you've got other staff there that, we had a bloke that come in and they did a night shift with Lockie and he literally weaned him off of that, doing it, like just sitting with him all night and just doing it gradually.
Yeah.
And watching him so they're not putting him in fear because you'd literally feel like you can't breathe.
Because I remember that night, actually. The ventilator, because I think they pushed, like, heat through it or something. So I was just getting stuffy.
Yeah.
Like, I ended up starting to cough a bit, like, stuff up, I think. So it just felt like I had when you have, like, a cold and you can feel your nose is starting to get stuffy and thick. I just felt like that.
And it's because with him laying so flat,
just wouldn't go away.
He developed pneumonia.
Yeah, well.
So that's what he's talking about, that thick. So as they're taking him off, like to breathe, like it's hard to breathe at the best times with pneumonia if you can stand up and move around.
Especially laying flat with build up of fluid. How long were you laying flat for? Roughly.
That was about 5 weeks.
Long time.
Yeah. Because the traction, you had to stay flat and on your back. It would take they should have had up to 15 people to roll him as a log roll in the traction because you need everything to stay straight.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he got the halo on that he could actually sit because it was holding his spine.
Holding you in place.
Keeping it in alignment. Yeah. But yeah, even that, like I said, the communication and that there, and it's just everything that could happen did happen. And it was all through people just not communicating and not listening to him.
Yeah.
When we did get out of ICU and went down to orthopedic, the same thing happened. He was telling them that he couldn't breathe. The traction had the trachea had come out of his throat, so he was like breathing on his own. He was eating and swallowing and everything, but still he had that right lower lobe, like the pneumonia, and he still should have needed like more physio and nebulizers and stuff like that. So when we
This is the first time we got to ortho.
The first time we went down to ortho, so we've been in ICU for like the 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
We get down there and he was telling them I can't breathe. He literally, I would point out like he was bluish around the lips. All day we were trying to ask for some physio on his chest and everything, and they were like, no, he doesn't need it. Put a SATS monitor on him. It was 98%. No, his SATs are fine. I'm saying, look at him.
Look at his lips. Like,
he's not the there is
blue lips is a massive red flag. Like, you don't get blue lips for no reason.
So this went on all day, and he, again, spinal patients get fatigued very easily.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing my water. Keep going.
All day he was coughing. I was actually helping to assist him with his cough because they were short of staff. Come the afternoon, we were again still asking for a nebulizer or the physio was declined, and the night staff come on. So it's still at 9 o'clock that night. He was still sort of coughing. The night staff come on. They passed it over. They come in. They checked his SATs again. Said, no, you're fine, but look, we'll just give you the nebulizer just so we said we gave it to you.
Yeah.
When they did give the nebulizer, he did settle a little bit, like, because it needed to be broken up. You could hear when he coughed, like it was, you could hear the shit in his chest, yeah. So they did that, and they also told him, look, spinal patients sometimes feel things that they think's there, but it's not. You just need to close your eyes and go to sleep. And I was like, wow, I've never heard that before. But anyway, at this time, like since he was in hospital, like I slept beside him. So I was always there. I was involved in all the roles. So then it was about 4:30 in the morning. He was due to be rolled onto the other side. So I woke up and we rolled him with the nurses. And when we finished rolling, positioning him, I ducked out to go to the toilet, and I was gone for about 10 minutes. And I've come back in, and he was blue. But he was trying to tell me something, like he was like, I can't breathe. And with that,
I don't even remember saying it. Like, I was gone.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And I've hit the MET button to alert people to come in because I knew that he was gone. I hit that button, and still with that button, there was nobody. I literally had to leave his room, run the ward, and it was one nurse that come in, and when she did come in, she was like, Lachlan, can you hear me? Meanwhile, like I said, he was blue. She turned the MET button off, so the alarm off. Lachlan, can you hear me? Breathe for me. Lachlan. And I'm like, he's not here. He's gone. And I've hit the MET button again.
Like, we're past this point.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And so I hit it again because she had turned it off. And I've again run out into the corridor, and I'm just yelling out, you need to come now. And still with that MET, but I couldn't believe it. Like, I was always trained, that MET call, you moved your ass and you got to where you needed to be, and everyone was there. It would literally take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're dawdling, like even the ward dawdling up the hallway, and I'm like, what are you doing? Then the senior orthopod, the doctor that with the halo, he come down, and at this stage everyone was in the room. They had to do CPR and stuff with him. They cut the jacket off, which again that's pretty hard because you could disalign again.
Yeah.
With that halo, so they've cut the jacket and with all the pushing and that on his chest. The senior orthopod, Matt, he was there with me, and he just looked at me and looked in the room, and he said, this should never have happened. I said, damn straight, it should never have happened.
Yeah.
I said, we've been voicing this.
So she turned off the Met button. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's like, what the, like, he was just he's just in shock himself, and he's like a part of the senior team at the hospital, and head of that department, orthopedics. So then my concern was when he did get breech, I'm saying to him, you need to fix that jacket. You need to look at, like, is this still aligned? Is this...
Before
and
all
nobody
that-
went with him. Nobody actually did that jacket. And then before that, then they had to take him back up to ICU again.
Yeah. I remember, because I know you're probably going to ask, the feeling that I had was, when I was out, I was like, peace. Couldn't see anything. Like, for me, it was just dark. When I say it, it sounds cheesy, but I feel like there might have been a light there that I was heading towards. But they must have just got me on that point where they've woken up and I've woken up to the elevator light. But I just felt peace. I wasn't in pain. There was no sounds. I was just...
Yeah.
So then when I got that, like, woken up in the elevator, and they were talking about putting the ventilator and all that back through my throat and whatnot, I was like, nah.
Yeah. He started
So
screaming.
I was going off like no tomorrow. Like, and I'll own that.
It's understandable considering what you've been going through
Yeah.
up until this point.
I remember one of the doctors, when I hit ICU, they were trying to put a cannula in my left arm, and he was literally leaning on my arm to try and get that cannula in because I just wasn't going to let him. Because again, even I had a bit of a needle phobia before the accident, and at this point now, you won't even get a needle near me.
Oh, they had him down, like, and he had
But we ended
he
up...
could, like, then start, he got feeling back into his arms.
Hmm.
Wasn't moving them on, but he could feel, and they literally 9-10 attempts
It's like
to get needles in,
that-
and that's just not even heard of.
Yeah.
But even this one that they put in, it was just sore. I kept saying it needs to be changed. Something needs to happen with this. It's sore. They just, no, you need it. They weren't even
You got another
bothering.
few doses of this for your antibiotic. You could actually tell, like, the arm was swollen. It was red. It needed to come out, but they didn't want to have a bar of it because they didn't want to put another one in.
Yeah.
And when they did take it out, it was clotted.
And it was like
It was
in the shape
bent.
of an L. Yeah.
Especially like with your frustration as well, like when they're holding your arm down. Like everything leading up to that point, you're probably thinking as well, like, are they even doing the right thing? Is like this next thing they're going to do actually going to do the thing that helps me? Because first, you've had the...
That sort of thing wasn't running through my mind. My mind was like, you bastards, I was at peace.
Yeah.
And now you've woken me up to this. So I was just raging, especially like to go back to ortho, ICU, sorry.
Yeah.
That was just where I was like, nah.
Did that thought eventually come into play where you're like, when they started recommending new treatments or new ways to, I guess, support you, where you're like, well, I don't know if I want to do this because everything, or most of the stuff you've done up until this point has probably sent me backwards or caused a different challenge, because you didn't originally go to the hospital because of fried kidneys, but that ended up happening.
Yeah.
Especially going blue and essentially dying as well. Like, these are things separate to the accident.
Yeah. See, I know Mum was definitely thinking all that, but I was more in the mind like, still, I was like, nah, I'll be right. Like, I'll be up again. I'll be moving. Like, the thought of being in this position or in this chair or being in the hospital, just like, nah, I'll be out. Like, my goal, I hit the hospital at September, right? I was saying while I was in ICU that I'll be out in November, not even realising what was actually going on.
And the thing was, when he got back down into orthopedic from that, the physios and the OTs were like, he's going to be moving. They had high hopes. So if he had stayed in there a little bit longer, once they listened and got him sorted, he would have been up and moving. But they moved him over to the spinal unit where he got infections.
And even that
and
sort of
and that's when he was asking, like he basically started then himself, like his mind was giving up because everything was just like you were saying before, everything they did set him back.
Yeah.
So that sort of started to settle in a bit in spinal. Because when I got back to ortho, it started after that big incident when we first hit ortho. Now the second time we were in ortho, everything was starting to go a bit smoother. Like I was able to get a bit of sleep. I think even a couple of nights there, Mum even got to go back to the motel and have a sleep. I'll start to trust people and that sort of thing. And the doctor that I had
too were trained there for spinal.
Yeah.
So like even with his bowels, so you can imagine even being in ICU for 5 weeks and your bowels have not opened.
Yeah.
You could imagine the toxicity and the illness even from that. So, which is another thing. Like you would think that in ICU, people would be trained if you're coming in with these, that they would be trained that they could be doing that all along because
especially because those
he was so
painkillers
toxic.
constipate you, don't they?
They'd fried his kidney. Like nothing was actually. And when he got back down to orthopedics and they literally helped him remove, he felt so much better. You know, within that fit, like all of that toxin shit was gone. So it was like, but yeah, a lot of that messes, and they were like giving him. You can only give so much medication and all of this stuff on an empty stomach.
Yeah,
and a full bed. Like he was just weak. You could smell the chemicals in him, but they weren't actually looking at that. Like you'd think that sort of needs to be. That's a part of your nursing. That's a part of your healing. To try to get him to eat more because we had to even literally retrain his abdo to tolerate food.
Yeah, well,
to tolerate drink because he just hadn't had any nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty.
Yeah, and then I forgot what we're up to. Too busy thinking of what was actually going on. I remember when we hit spinal, all those sort of thoughts were coming through. I still had the urge, like, to sort of keep fighting. Because I just kept setting these, like, no, I'll be out in this so many months. No, I'll be out in this many weeks. Like, oh.
Is that determination we're talking about?
Yeah.
You kind of always had, just...
And that's literally what we had to do ourselves. Because of everything that was what they weren't doing or the trauma that they were causing. It was like I had to be there to, like, with that mindset, because without that mindset, you're not going to get out.
You got to keep hope.
So, yeah, we were sort of doing it to each other to keep in. But yeah, I had reported, like, by the time we got down to spinal, I'd been reporting for, it wasn't weeks, it was months, at least a good 3 months, that he had infections and they wouldn't listen to any of that. There was like 7 Ryan's rules called.
So I remember even you saying in a roll they ended up dropping the actual catheter bag too. They tried covering that up.
Yeah, they rolled him there and things like they dropped the catheter bag on the floor. So therefore, like, he started to bleed
in that area
with that. And when I looked and I was like, what the hell's this? Like, what? Oh no, that's been there for a while. I'm like, it's fresh blood.
Yeah.
You know, just so much that they would try to cover up, so much that even documentation that they put there, there is no way that if you were to document everything that went on, like within their shifts or what happened, that you wouldn't get the miscommunication that he's gotten. Nobody knew, and actually nobody wanted to come near him because of all the stuff that had been done to him.
Yeah.
To be accountable for that. So, sorry to cut a long story short, with those infections, he ended up with 3 infections. After the 7th Ryan's rule call that they actually did something, we got a senior medical officer that come down, and he come to the bedside and he said, you should have absolutely listened to his mum and listened to him. He ended up with osteomyelitis in the bone, up in the shoulder, and that was because of, as I said previously, that collarbone was broken.
What's osteomyelitis?
Osteomyelitis is an infection in the bone.
Yep.
So that was one of the infections.
Very serious infection too. I remember the pain of that. The pain of that was the only thing that would actually get rid of that pain was a shot of fentanyl and 2 Panadol.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. They tried giving me other things. I was just like, it's not.
Doesn't touch the side. You had to get into the. But that was caused from them breaking and re-breaking that collarbone because they wouldn't listen. They kept rolling him on that shoulder. So he got an infection from that. The other infection that he had was MRSA of the blood, and that was from a PICC line that they put in, which is very close to your heart. So that was really
crazy.
Mum's got all the photos.
And he got sepsis.
Yeah.
Through all of this, like with his urine and stuff as well. So he was literally. They told me that when they actually looked at this, and by the 7th Ryan's Rule call, they said to me, "Have I thought of palliative?" None of this was due to his injury. This is due to neglect.
So, like, all this stuff has got nothing to do with the actual
That's
accident.
exactly right, because when he was in orthopedics before he went down to spinal, the physios and the OTs were like, he's going to walk again.
Yeah.
He's going to do this. He hit spinal and legit, like, neglect of care.
Even the doctors.
The unhygienic room where they had him in. Just a mistreatment. So it wasn't from the injury, but
this whole time should have been doing physio, focusing on getting back to, I guess.
Even the doctors in ortho had no doubt. Like, I remember asking if I could go back to boxing and all that. Not one of them said no. One of them sat there and was like, I'm an iron about it. More because of the fact I had a broken neck and I wanted to go do boxing. That was why he was like...
It's probably like, not professionally, like that.
Yeah. But my main doctor, he was like, I don't see why you can't.
Yeah.
So not one of them gave me any doubt until I hit spinal.
Yeah. And that, and then to be told, 10% chance of living, and had I thought about palliative? All just from neglect.
Yeah.
I was then pushing, like I said, he needs to get out of this ward. I said he needs to go back up to orthopedics where he's got the spinal cares. People are trained up there for his spinal cares. And Dr. who was a senior medical executive, he said, I can treat this lad anyway. So put him where he's going to be comfortable. And it was a deliberate action. They actually put him up into a medical ward with older dementia patients. None of the staff on that ward had training in spinal. So they couldn't do his bowel therapies. And we were up there for 9 weeks.
And that...
Oh, yeah, you can get a drink. I can grab that for you.
And then, that point... That point for me would have been where the mental health side of things.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into. Like, reflecting on this whole journey of what's happened this far. Like, where was your headspace at? Because I can imagine you're traumatized. You probably got PTSD. You'd be depressed because of the situation you're in, plus all the neglect that's followed it. You're probably anxious about the care you're getting and the care you're going to be getting. Like, there's so many elements within this around your emotional well-being and mental health. So talk to us a bit about that.
So with getting into medical, I was still like, in the back of my head I was like, I'm getting up, I'm walking, I need to get away from this stuff. So that was still the one thing that I wanted to do. I didn't want anything else. People would come to me about equipment, if I could use this and that. I was like, nah, I'm either moving again, you help me get moving again, or piss off. Like, and to be quite honest, I'm pretty much still like that. This time I'm just a bit more flexible with things. But in medical, I was really going through thought of suicide and all that, just because I'd have enough.
Yeah.
Any sort of bad news or something like that, or something wasn't going the right way, I was just like, nah, I'm done. When it got real bad one night in medical, I was having a bit of an episode, like, I think Mum and me we weren't arguing or anything like that. I was just really down. She went downstairs for a smoke, and I had the nurse up there, and I ordered everything on my
Like a medication chart.
I think like the patient request list or whatever it is. So I knew everything that was on that chart, and I've gone, can you get me this, and this. The whole lot, and the nurses said, Mum's walked in as the nurses said, okay, we'll see what we can do for you. And I remember Mum just stopping them and pretty much saying, like, can you not see what he's trying to do?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was only due to, again, Mum being there and walking in that I didn't go through with it. And then also up in medical is where they ended up blowing my urethra from trying to put a catheter in. That was like, to me, it was just like, holy shit, here we go again.
Literally.
Like
just like something else now.
Mum's got photos of that. Like, from my memory, I was having an 18 gauge catheter put in because I was prone to blocking and that sort of thing from sediment. And those size catheters can only be put in by trained staff. So I believe it's a CN and that, like those sort of experience that can put them in. The CN on this day was too worried about how his ward looked and where he was hanging stuff on the walls and this sort of stuff. So he passed it down to an RN, I believe. Ended up going with it, and they cleared my urethra is the easiest way to say it. Blood was starting to go into the bag.
That would have been painful, bro.
Well, it must have been, like, I couldn't feel that area properly still.
Yeah, okay.
But I felt something. So not being able to feel your body, but being able to feel something, you know what I'm saying? It must have been
wrong.
bad.
Yeah.
I get pain there now. Like, I can feel there now. But it was a very traumatic experience going through that. Because I was sort of just sitting in shock again. I was like, okay, what's going on now? Like, what do we do now after my urethra was blown?
Where are we at?
The urethra.
Well, you just told us a story around how they end up getting an RN and not someone that was, I guess, fully trained to perform that.
Yeah, and it's very well known. Like, it's got to be a CN because of the size of the catheter. He's had an 18 gauge catheter. Yeah, and there's photos there of that, of how they left him then for an hour and then trying to say to me that, we'll just see how it goes for a couple of hours if we can get some urine down. But the bag was just blood.
Yeah.
And I said, you've traumatized his urethra. You need a urologist down here now to get because he's still got to pee. Otherwise he would go into audiodysplexia.
Yeah.
Which would then cause his blood pressure to rise and he could stroke out. But even that mindset that they were saying that they weren't aware of that, you know, like,
it's crazy.
I was literally like just running the ward, trying to find professional people that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that was continuous then in that medical ward for 9 weeks.
Well, Lockie even told us as well why he stepped out about his moment where he asked for loads of different medications from his chart, and the nurse said to him, we'll see what we can do. And he said, it's obvious what he's trying to do, like, don't do that.
If he hadn't had someone by, you know, like myself, like, they would have literally gone and got them.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't had a dose, because he wasn't used them because it was affecting him, but he knew that that's what would take him out, and he was so tired and the pain and the drama just for him to be able to go to the toilet and have people in there to know that they were doing, because every time they worked on him, they hurt him. It didn't matter what was being done. And even the incident where they were checking his bloods and saying that his blood count was low. And I'm saying to them, well, you've only done one of that lot, because he kept saying, I don't need it. I don't need it. But then again, with all of this, all they kept doing was trying to pump the drugs and the antibiotics into him. They weren't worried about his nutrition either. So that didn't help for him to feel any better.
Yeah.
So then that was an argument within itself to get them to do, and that's protocol. You should always take 2 lots of bloods to test to be sure. But because he had fluid on board, going through a drip, and that it concentrated the blood. So when they actually did it properly and did it the second time, platelets were like 65 and your normal range is about 130. Well, when they did it properly, they discovered then, he is 85, so he's not actually in line to have a blood transfusion. So he was right knowing his body and feeling what he was feeling.
Yeah.
I was right to actually advocate to go like literally, but that is protocol.
Yeah.
So they weren't doing anything within the guidelines, And in that time, he was having like Met calls. He had up to 7 Met calls in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like 34 hours. I had about 9.
9.
Yeah.
Well.
And they'd get
So
in
I
there
had
and
no sleep, no food. Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, rest and sleep is one of the biggest.
And even after those Met calls, I think I had those Met calls, and the next day I was going up to medical. On the topic of mental health, I got up to medical. I was starting to sort of chill out a bit. I had something to eat. And I said, at this point, I think Mum has gone over to the motel for a bit of sleep and to have a shower.
I went to have a shower to come back when I knew that he was settled.
So my brother was up there with me. And I pretty much said to my brother, I was like, if I'm asleep, don't wake me. Like, I need to sleep. So he went out and mentioned that to the nurses and that. And they ended up waking me up.
Yeah.
So just to check, like, me pulse and that sort of thing. And I was like, don't wake me up and don't touch me or anything, because once you do that, with the osteomyelitis, I was in pain.
Yeah.
So with them wanting to put the cuff and all that around my arm, it was just going to put me into pain. So I ended up like getting annoyed and getting angry that they woke me up because I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I would have lost sleep again. But that then, with me getting angry and going off and that, the nurse, like the head nurse of the shift or whatever, basically came in and said that if I didn't stop screaming and yelling, that they were going to put me in mental health. Slammed the door, turned the lights off. And Mum heard it all because Mum was on an open call.
Because even when I'd leave, I'd always have Lockie on an open call, because that's how bad there was no trust with what they do. So I could hear everything that was going on, everything that was being said. But even for them to have that knowledge, like someone with, like, you could not even, like, for me just to go up and just lightly touch his arm, don't touch me, don't, it would hurt.
Yeah.
His whole body was in pain. So you can imagine when they've got a IV in and they're putting, and we knew it had to go in, the antibiotic, but I'd say you just need to be as gentle as you can. Do not pull at that line, just try to have and secure it, like, and go in slowly. They'd come in and they'd literally like pull his arm up, and he would just start screaming. His doctor at the time that actually got him up there, he was away on holidays.
Yeah.
He went on holidays for 6 weeks. When he come back and seen all the notes and everything that had been put in there, he was absolutely shocked and appalled, and actually gave them a dressing over.
Yeah.
But yeah, for that nurse to come in again to put him in that fear where who could he trust?
Exactly.
And how she spoke to him.
Well, it's meant to be a safe place, you know.
Absolutely. There, she said, if you don't shut up with this yelling and screaming, we're going to put you into mental health. At the end of the day, to go to mental health, how's that going to help his spinal injuries? And he would have, again, he wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was appalling. So I got back up there as quick as I could. And I told her that I had heard all of her conversation. The doctor another doctor come in, and I spoke to him about it, and he basically said the same thing. You can't be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That same nurse actually put out a complaint about Hayden, Lockie's brother, and
Which I don't know how, because he didn't do anything.
all he did was ask for him to be kept.
Yeah.
But see, even in
peaceful.
spinal, they actually had a target on my brother because of the nurse unit manager or whatever there, whatever she was having to dig at him when I got the bad infections. Because Mum wasn't there and Hayden was
I had
looking
left
after
for
me.
2 days, and Hayden was there with Lockie doing what I was doing. I had to go back to Rocky.
And they were making, I say accusations. They were pretty much sitting there saying that Hayden was threatening them.
Yeah. Well.
Hayden was either with me or he was on the balcony just outside my door. And if he wasn't there, then he wasn't even in the ward itself. He was outside having a smoke out on the front.
But that actually came to because he
So
kept
if
going
he had
to the
even
nurse.
said anything like that, people in the ward would have heard him say something, and no one heard him say anything like that at all.
So because Lockie was this is when he got more and more unwell. So, and my plane got delayed, and I actually didn't get back to the hospital until after midnight, and it was like Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But he literally started in the morning because Lachlan was saying to him, this isn't going to end well. I don't feel good. I'm getting worse. He kept on going to the nurses and saying he needs to be seen by a doctor. He's getting worse. And then one of those nurses said that he was being a bully and he was bossing the nurses around. Lockie actually didn't get to see a doctor until like 5:30 that afternoon. Now this was going again all day. The shift nurse started at 1:00 in the afternoon, and she didn't even go up to see Lockie and to check on him to see what was going on.
Yeah.
But when the doctor arrived at 5:30, Hayden was literally just talking to the doctor. There was no dramas at all. He was showing his concern and what was happening with Lockie.
Well, advocating for you, because up until this point, advocation is what kept you alive.
Absolutely. And then she decided to come up to Lockie that hadn't seen him all shift and say to Hayden, I've been told that you're bossing people around and you need to stop, otherwise I'll have you removed. And Hayden said, I wanted my brother, he needed to be seen by a doctor.
Yeah.
Now, as Lockie just said, like if he had said anything, Lockie was in a ward. It was the acute ward, actually. So they should have had more eyes on him and quicker. There was another 4 patients in that ward.
Yeah.
When I actually got back and I seen the patients' family members that were there at that time and all that happened, they come up to me and said there would have been no need. Hayden did what anyone else would have done. They could all see how sick Lachlan was. And even the patients beside were advocating for him.
That's it. Like, we'd all do the same for our family.
But they still brought in security guards and they removed Hayden. Before I even got there, removed Hayden
They
from Lockie's
allowed
side.
him to be in for 15 minutes. Then he had to step out for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So as much fear as what he was in and how anxious he was in and how unwell he was, they still proceeded with that.
Yeah.
And even Hayden, so he lost his father in a car accident when he was 6.5. So this entire thing was basically replaying what Hayden had experienced with his father at 6.5. So he was stressed. Like he
can imagine, yeah.
He just in his head would have been going through that he's lost his brother. He's lost his father and he's lost his brother. That was what have all been going through his head.
And even prior before that, when he was there, like legit, the wardies and everyone and the other nurses were actually involving Hayden to help him with the transfers, and they were all laughing and like there was not a problem until Lockie became quite sick and he was running around trying to get a doc, and he became like, I know where he would have went, like, because I was doing the same thing for the 6 months that we were there,
Yeah.
literally saving his life
Mm.
because of the advocacy, like you said.
Yeah.
Because no one was.
Yeah. The crazy thing about this is just like a story after story of all these things that are happening. You think one story would be bad enough, but to have we've had probably about 4 or 5, maybe 6 within this podcast already around the neglect that.
And it's crazy to see, Ryan, that like for even us to reach out for legal help, nobody wants to know about it. Because it's like the fear of their name will be, like Queensland Health. Like we're talking about systems of Queensland Health, NDIS, NISCU, funded bodies of the treatment that he has received.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to want to know about it or to help us through that, to actually raise a voice, to be a voice.
Yeah, because talking about that now, like here today, like what is the goal? Like, because like a legal help, hold people accountable and things like that. But like, what's some of the things you want to bring awareness to?
Honestly, outside of the hospital, support workers. Sometimes they're a joke.
Yeah.
They're not trained either.
No, you get a lot
but
of that.
People get a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that comes from your service providers too. They're giving a lot of money to pay it to people that are not trained. Like this is a spinal patient. There should be trained people to come. I have literally for nearly 2 years have done the training on how Lachlan needs it to be moved.
I've gone through 2 service providers already, and the one that I'm with now, ELC, is probably the best one that I've ever come across. Yeah, Courtney and all that, they're there for their client. They're not there just to get money.
Yeah.
Which you can see from a mile away. But even like, we were wanting to go back up to Rocky, and like, because we don't know anyone down here in Brisbane, we don't know too many people.
But you want to go home, bro.
Yeah,
you want to go home. Yeah.
Because we can be here some days here now out in community and have one support worker.
Yeah.
And we're still doing like he is supposed to, from a discharge summary and from a physiotherapist report, it's 4-1 to actually roll him and everything. And they haven't put that in at all. Like NISCU won't fund it. There's all these assessments that you've got to do, and I can be left with one support worker.
Yeah.
To get Lockie. So if he becomes,
and that only doesn't become a struggle on mum's body. That's a duty of care to me. If I don't have enough people, I can't open my bowels. I can't get up and get outside just to clear my head, to have a smoke, that sort of thing. Like I can't.
He can't live.
Yeah, I'm stuck in a bed.
Yeah.
Can't move, like change position or anything like that. It's just like, this is all you can do.
Especially like if if there is capacity there for support, you shouldn't have to worry about these things either. You should be more like focused on your goals and things that you can work on to improve and to make steps, or how you can live your own best life, and not these other things behind the scenes that I guess people should be competent enough to work on.
I've even had an OT come in and say they have made you more disabled than what you actually are. So for that to come from an OT, that's like...
Yeah.
And that was only a couple of weeks ago. So this even stems down to the equipment that he was given in hospital.
Yep.
So the chair that he is in now, he's got no independence in that chair. He relies on someone else to push him.
Like even now I'm sitting here like moving my head and my neck because of my shoulders.
Because of the pain, his shoulders aren't supported, his neck's not supported. Even like to get out of bed, we're still doing bowel therapies in bed. Now we're looking at something that happened nearly 2 years ago now. Now he doesn't even have a decent commode to go over the toilet to do that.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for that. And on that commode, which you'd use for a shower as well, Lockie was in hospital and he did not have a shower for 8 months. From the time that he went to hospital here in Brisbane, 8 months later.
Yeah, well.
He had a shower. Even now, because of this equipment, he might get a shower once a week. He doesn't want to shower once a week. He should be having a shower. He could have
Human
2 showers a day if he wanted to.
100%.
That's what he...
And that also then comes down to staffing as well.
Yeah.
Equipment, staffing. Like, if I don't have enough people, I can't even get in that chair to go for a shower.
Yeah.
So...
And we all seem to be running on everyone else's time. Nothing's scheduled around his time. Oh, no, I've got football on Saturday or, this lad, as you just said, he can't even go to the toilet on his own without having someone there to help him, and you guys are still all worried about your social life, but also you get rung at like an hour before the shift is supposed to start. Oh, this one can't come in and we can't cover it.
Yeah. Especially if a support services makes promises, they should be holding up their end of the deal.
Absolutely.
With committing to supporting you.
We had the NISCU funded body when Lockie was in hospital, ringing the hospital saying, oh, we don't normally do 4-to-1 out in community. Can you change that to 2-to-1? And the OTs and the physios, well, we're not prepared to do that. That's going without our scope of practice. And while he's still doing his therapies in bed, this is what's required because you don't have the equipment.
Yeah. And so really, I got, sort of like put it up into a quick story. I got transferred to Sunshine Coast University Hospital where all the equipment got scripted. I died there as well due to a 15-minute operating procedure that should have only took 15 minutes, but it actually took 3 hours.
I couldn't find him for 3 hours.
Well, so I died a couple of times and that won't get too in-depth with it.
But he can actually tell you what he heard, what he's seen, and then how they tried to cover it up and tell me a whole different story.
Yeah, well.
We're all very well aware. I just need to say, sorry, Lockie, that a general, like an anaesthetic, is actually a truth serum. So you don't actually come out like, you hear people tell you a whole lot of stuff. It's all truth. But when he was telling the doctor that, like he was sitting up, because when I went and seen him, I'm like, what the hell, you're in recovery.
Yeah.
They've got him sitting upright. He's like anxious as hell. He's saying to me, Mum, I died. I died. I said, what do you mean you died, mate? Where's the... And the doctor come in and he said exactly the same thing to the doctor, and you needed to do CPR. And he's like, what? No, we didn't need to do that. No. And he's saying, yes, you did. And then other things that the nurses were like, oh, do you know the CPR bed's not working here? I said, yeah, I do actually. I said, I brought it to the attention for a number of weeks. But I said, how do you know that? Why did you need to know that? Just lies after lies.
Covering up.
Absolutely.
So I went in there just for a little slit in the side of my neck. I came out with that pink chlorhexidine all down my chest, in my ear. I had a black eye.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got a black eye. I don't know if someone just got the shits and just whacked me in the eye or something, but something happened there.
Too random for a coincidence.
Yeah. I remember the doctor saying, I don't know how she's going to take this, talking about Mum.
Yeah.
I've lost him. But with that, sorry, Ryan, I was ringing. It took me 3 hours for them to tell me where I could. I went in there to the operating theatres with him. And nobody knew where he was. They kept saying, oh, no, try this number. Oh, no, try that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And there was 2 other people with me. They're going, what the? One was a paramedic.
Yeah. Thinking just, how's this even happening?
I've never seen,
different hospitals as well.
Yeah.
But with, sorry, did you want to say something quickly?
Yeah, because we, as you've probably seen, we've got the GoFundMe and all that up.
Yeah.
We moved all of our stuff from Rocky down here because we thought it was going to be easier when it's only been harder.
We were told
Well, yeah, we were told.
We were told that there was no, we couldn't go back to Rockhampton
Oh, yeah, that's right.
because the modifications to the house were going to take 12 to 18 months.
And they
and
wanted
I
the
said,
house
well,
signed over.
we're not staying. And I got told from NISCU that if they were to do modifications, that they had to have some part ownership of the house. And I was like, what? That's crazy. So with everything that's going on in hospital, I'm trying to deal with this. I'm like, no, but we can't stay in hospital for 12 to 18 months. Oh, well, you need to go out to an SDA home here in Brisbane, which they paid for the relocation of all of the stuff because Lockie had been approved as an Appendix H through NDIS, which meant that he had to live with his family. He couldn't be in a shared home.
Yeah.
So we come out here, and again, that's another story of its own of this functional SDA home and the price for it. But yeah, that's why we ended up here. And now we're told like when to get home and wanting to like go home to more supports and everything else, that they won't relocate our stuff. Now, I can't work.
Yeah.
I'm here 24/7. I'm the primary carer. But they call me a conflict of interest, so I can't be paid for what I do.
Yeah, which
so to actually gather money, I'm on like $1,000 a fortnight. Rent here is $500 a week on top of already the $90,000 that they took out of his NDIS to put into this home. And he doesn't even have a fire evacuation. It's not to SDA standard.
Yeah.
Which has been only brought up and proven the last couple of weeks.
So they won't even actually...
Huge. If there was a fire here, we don't even have extinguishers or fire blankets, and his bed does not fit out of that room. So if there was a fire, I couldn't get him out. And we've been discharged here since October last year.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so they won't even fund for our stuff to be moved back up to Rocky.
But they funded to bring it here.
Yeah. So now that's the purpose for the GoFundMe, to help you relocate, get back home, get the right supports, and yeah,
go from there. And
I
know there's possibility of me getting back up on my feet. It's just a matter of actually being able to get it done, like the stuff that I need to do.
Yeah,
and that's all lined up in Rocky.
Getting them back in the right support environment. So what's the goal for the GoFundMe? What's the number?
I know
15.
Yeah. Luke put it up for 15, and Luke Medini, thanks for everything that he's done too.
So I'll whack it
Luke,
obviously all on the links for this episode and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, I big thanks to Luke, because if I hadn't known Luke, then I wouldn't know yourself. Even just as somebody to talk to, Luke's great.
100%.
And can I just add with that, Lockie was diagnosed, like I said, autistic level 3 with anxieties and ADHD and OCD before this injury. So Lockie was funded with NDIS before this injury. When we come down here with this injury, they took all of that away from us. So I could not have any support to help me by his bedside. So all of this. And then when I finally got it back up and running April last year, where he could, because again with autism, you need the consistency, the familiarity and stuff. And I had people coming in to work with him and support him with community access. I got that back up and running, and they took it off and changed it to agency planned. And so he still has not, that's where it stopped again, where he was doing his training. And Lockie knows his body. He's done gym. He's been strong. He's like, we've had bone density tests where they're normal. His muscle mass is not just with doing what we were doing, what Pete was doing, to have again NDIS / that, take it to agency. And unless you're registered, he can't be supported by those people.
Yeah.
It's just an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
And like I said, that NISCU keeps saying, oh, they only look after the spinal. NDIS needs to look after the autism, but they're not looking after it. And unless you get this right, your mind right, and to keep that anxiety away and that fear away, you're not going to actually support the injury.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not going to move forward.
Yeah.
And so this has been my argument all along. And who gives them? They've taken away his choice and his control, where he's living, who he has in his life as supports, but still they can sabotage his health, with everything that they're doing. Like it's...
Yeah.
I just needed to add that it's... So I guess when you say, like, even putting it out there for other people, just be very mindful and have that advocate or that person there to help them through, because I can tell you...
Thank God you were there.
Yeah.
And even if anybody wants advice, help, I know my DMs are open.
Yeah.
Through any of this sort of stuff. Yeah. Like even up in Rocky, I've got like walk and talk. I know that's up and running now. Or even mental health. Like I've got everyone up there that I need. It's just a matter of getting back up there.
Yeah. Well, let's do what we can to reach that goal. Like it'll be in the link of this episode. We'll post all the clips on social media. We'll probably get a photo after this and put that up as well.
Yeah.
See what we can do on that end. But just finishing up, like even like as a new dad, I just had a kid 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And like that's an inspiration to me, what you've done for your son, of like how I want to be for my children, be there by their side and advocate for them.
Put it is I wouldn't be alive without mum.
Yeah. That's inspired me to be there for my children the same way, Be that stronghold for them, even when it is challenging for you, to still be there for your kids and show up. And then for you too, you're inspiring too, mate. For everything you've been for the last couple of years, to be here today and, want to still push through and find ways to keep going and find ways to show up, especially on the worst of days. So I can imagine some days you don't have the best thoughts going through your head or the best feelings, but, you're still willing and determined to keep pushing, especially getting back to Rocky and all those things, man. Like just the both of you, you're an inspiration, and hopefully we can help you get to that goal.
Yeah, I even get annoyed at myself too. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I had been with mum there before all this or that sort of thing. So even to any young ones out there, spend as much time as you can with your parents too, and listen and learn, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. You really don't. Yeah.
Before we finish up, do you just want to have any last words or add anything?
I think I've pretty much said all I can say.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot more to the story, but I can't use up too much time, so it'd go on for hours.
Yeah, probably watch this space. It'll be a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But just keep everyone close and use voices with people, with anyone. I was always told within my nursing, everyone that you work with and you care for, you look at them like their family, because they deserve that. Yeah. And that's what we do.
I love that. But everyone listening, please check out the GoFundMe in the bio, and also Lockie's socials and stuff will be in there. You want your socials in the bio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pour that in the bio. So please check it out and support. And thank you both for your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you.